Welcome to the channel once again. This is Paul here, and welcome to the lesson that we are taking on cost segregation. This one will be a little bit challenging, so I want you to open your eyes and see what will be going on here. So we have a question here. A company identified that total fixed cost increased by 15,000 Ghana cedis when activity level equates or exceed 19,000 units. The variable cost per unit is constant. Always the variable cost per unit will be constant at all activity levels. The company has identified the following costs at two activity levels. So we have 22,000, which is above the range, and 17,000, which is below the range. So when you're using high and low, what are we going to do? If you're using high and low, we need to get what? Two activity levels. They should be in the same range before we use the high and low. Now one is above the range and one is below the range. So it's just like we have two different situations, right? So what we do is we must adjust one to meet the other. So the adjustment depends on the one that you want to adjust. So here the unit is 22,000, which is above the range, and the cost is 195,000. So if we want to adjust this one, then we are going to subtract the 15,000, that's the increment in the fixed cost, from the 195,000. So that will give us what? 180,000. So we use 180,000 and use it against the low activity level. Or if you want to adjust the low activity level, then you add the 15,000 to this figure, which will also give you 180,000. So we are raising this 15,000 to the level of 195,000. And also when we are adjusting the 195,000, we are lowering the level to that of the 168,000. So the first one, we raise it to 195,000 level, and the second one, we decrease the 195,000 to the level of 165,000. So let's adjust the low activity level. So adjust lower activity level. So the cost here is 165,000. So you add the 15,000 to it, and that will give me 180,000. So this is what we use for our adjustment. So when you come back to the question, the highest activity level is 165,000, 190. So the highest activity level, the cost is 195,000 minus the low activity level. Now the low activity level will be what? 180. Then divided by high activity level, which is 22,000 minus 17,000, and this one will give us the variable cost. So what will this give us? The top will give me 15,000 divided by 5,000, which will give me 3 Ghana cedis per unit. That is the variable cost per unit. That's the variable cost per unit. To get the fixed cost for the high activity level, here we increase. So to get the fixed cost for the high activity level, then we have the total cost is 195. 123 is equal to the fixed cost which we are looking for, plus 3 cedis times the activity level, which is 22,000, and that will give us 195,000 is equal to the fixed cost plus 66,000. My fixed cost should be equal to 195,000 minus 66,000. So my fixed cost should give me 129,000. This one, what do? We adjusted it to the high level, we added to the low level and got that. So the increment of the 15,000 is in this fixed cost. So let's get a function. So the total cost here should be equal to 129,000 plus 3 times what? Quantity. And this function is relevant when we are producing above what? 19,000, above 19,000. So the increment of fixed cost of 15,000 is in this fixed cost here. So if you want to get for the lower level, then what should we do? We must subtract the increment of the 15,000 from the fixed cost. So that should give us the total cost should be equal to 129,000 minus 15,000, and that will give me 114,000 plus 3Q. So this is for below average and this is above the average. So if your question is given to you like this, this is how you go about it. We can do the alternative. So let me do the alternative here. Doing the alternative, this one, let me see, we added to the low level. So let's use the high level and subtract. So if you are subtracting from the high level, it should be 195,000 minus 15,000, which will also give me 180,000. So the high activity level, the cost is 180,000 minus the low activity, which is 165,000, divided by 22,000 minus 17,000, and this will give me, here will give me 15,000 and this will give me 5,000. So my variable cost is equal to 3 Ghana cedis per unit. Now if that's the case, let me get the function. So the function here, let me use the lower activity level. So the lower activity level should give me 165,000 is equal to fixed cost plus 3 into bracket quantity, which is 17,000, and 165,000 is equal to fixed cost plus 17,000 times 3, that is 51,000. So my fixed cost should be equal to 165,000 minus 51,000, and my fixed cost is 114,000. So this one, after doing this is the fixed cost of the lower activity level. So to get the fixed cost of the high activity level, they say well, the fixed cost increased by 15,000. So the high activity level should be 15,000 plus 114,000, and that will give me what? 129,000. So if you add to the lower activity level, you are going to get the same thing. If you subtract from the high activity level, you are going to get the same thing. So when you have a step fixed cost that you are giving just two variables, the lower activity level and the high activity level, this is how you go about it. I hope this is helpful. Don't forget to like, comment and share. See you in the next video.